On the 6th of November 2022, Geordie made a comment that would leave a stain on his career forever. It all came about from an ongoing beef he has with Andrew Tate. Geordie hasn't liked Andrew ever since he first heard his views on women. Whenever he's spoken about him following this, he's never had anything good to say. After learning about Andrew's webcam business, Geordie called him a pimp, and since then they've always been on bad terms. Andrew said on many occasions that he'd happily get in the ring with him to settle their beef.
But if he wants to fight me, I will meet him in the cage any day of the fucking week. Bare knuckle, twice on a Sunday. And then he can go from a dildo lover to a dildo lover with a broken face, because I will fucking annihilate him.
Andrew recently converted to Islam, which is where the story begins. While watching a football game on stream, a fan asked Geordie whether he'd be fighting Andrew, to which Geordie responded saying this.
Andrew Tate's got God on his side now. There's no way Brian would win that.
Although I would gladly blow myself up if I could take that fucking shitbag with us.
The joke, which Geordie didn't seem to think was a big deal at the time, would come back to haunt him. As soon as he said it, his co-host Lawrence McKenna tried to cover his back, but Geordie's fate was already sealed. In a matter of hours, clips of Geordie's comments were being posted online, and the severity of what he said began to dawn on him. He scrambled to salvage the situation and released a video apologizing for his joke. In it, he explained that he didn't intend for the joke to come off as malicious toward Muslims and was just trying to convey his dislike for Andrew Tate. He used the classic defense of "I have Muslim friends" and even brought up a past girlfriend of his that was Muslim. However, after 20+ minutes of Geordie explaining himself and even bursting into tears, people were still not convinced he was actually sorry. The top comments on the video were, "This man isn't sorry, he's just trying to save his career. Give this man an Oscar. 30 seconds apologizing and 22 minutes feeling sorry for himself." Geordie shot himself in the foot by ending what was supposed to be a heartfelt apology video with "Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe."
Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and subscribe.
You could argue he's so used to saying this at the end of his videos that it just came out, but to many it just showed that Geordie is truly unaware of what's appropriate and what isn't, which is exactly what got him in this situation in the first place. On the same day he released his apology video, Tate posted a video responding to what Geordie said about him. It's rare to see Andrew truly pissed off, but from this clip you can tell he has a seething dislike for True Geordie.
There's very few people I personally dislike. One of them is True Geordie. Anyone who's followed me long enough understands why. And they did a video about me long ago where they were insulting a bunch of women who worked for me, calling them horrible names. He made full-grown women cry. And now, after me converting to Islam, he made a piece on one of his podcasts saying that I'm not true in my conversion, and then insulted all Muslims, saying that Muslims blow themselves up, and that I should go blow myself up. We should all blow ourselves up, making fucking racist comments about an entire religion as if that's somehow funny. Let me tell you something, my friend, and if True Geordie, if you're watching this is a message directly to you. There are certain times in life you need to know when to shut the fuck up. There are certain things which are not funny. To insult my religion and the religion of billions of people across the fucking planet, thinking that it's going to go without consequence, you're going to learn very quickly, my friend, that was a mistake.
And Andrew is right, because in the days that followed, everything started to fall apart for Geordie. Losing some followers is one thing, but losing brand partners and sponsorships is something completely different. Maybe he knew what was coming, or maybe he was just praying it wouldn't happen, but on November 8th, Gymshark, the long-standing sponsor of the True Geordie podcast, completely cut ties with them. They released a statement on Twitter saying they do not agree with the comments True Geordie made, and they've suspended their relationship with him indefinitely. On the same day, PokerStars also tweeted that they terminated their contract with him with immediate effect. These were devastating blows, and if how serious his situation was hadn't really sunk in yet, now it definitely had. With a whole team to look after, the loss of two big sponsors is a really big deal, and it makes you feel sorry for all the members of the True Geordie team who said nothing wrong but still have to suffer the consequences. And just when it looked like things couldn't get much worse, Twitch decided to ban Geordie from their platform. It seemed like one after the other, brands were disassociating from him, and I couldn't help but notice the cruel irony at play. True Geordie got himself in this predicament by trying to insult Andrew Tate, who not long ago was in a similar situation, but he was banned by one brand after the next for controversial things he said on the internet. Geordie celebrated when this happened to Tate, and now the shoe is on the other foot. However, unlike Andrew, Geordie still has access to his YouTube channels, and he's been trying to claw back his reputation. He released a second apology video saying he will work on himself and be better, but people seem to be taking pleasure in the fact that the tables had turned on him. One person commented, "It's beautiful to see someone who cancels people and judges others get cancelled and judged." Another wrote, "After years of taking the piss out of apology videos, finally it's him." Part of the reason people showed little sympathy for Geordie is because this wasn't an isolated incident. He said and done other questionable things in the past. Even just a few months prior, he made a different joke stereotyping Muslims in a similar way.
Your Mrs. family are
Muslim, yeah.
full believers.
Full blown.
I nearly said full blown.
Full blown Muslim. So you've got full blown Islam in you, yeah?
Full blown. Full blown.
He's been making jokes of this nature for years. While there are some Muslims that wouldn't find this offensive, there are many that would, and it makes you wonder if Geordie is comfortable making these types of jokes on camera, what type of jokes is he making off camera? True Geordie is someone who prides himself on being a straight talking person. He doesn't like to censor himself in any way and usually just says what he's thinking. We can see how this gets him in trouble, but it also makes for his best content. For example, in a recent interview with Tyson Fury, he persistently asked him the tough questions that other interviewers shied away from. Tyson had just announced his trilogy fight with Derek Chisora, who he's beaten twice before. Geordie pointed out the fact that there are other big names he's yet to fight, such as Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk, yet Fury has chosen to take another fight versus an opponent who simply doesn't stand a chance. Even after seeing that Fury was getting annoyed, he kept asking about this because he knew that's what the fans really wanted to know. After trying to justify the fight in every way apart from saying it's a payday, Tyson ended the call by throwing out multiple different insults at True Geordie.
Cheers,
I
mate.
think you're a tosser, you little toss top.
Thanks.
And I won't be doing any more interviews with you little toss top bearded.
No worries,
bald
mate.
headed
Thanks very
tosser.
much.
In the end, Geordie came out looking like the better man in the whole exchange, and even though he took some punishment for it, he truly spoke for the fans. This is where True Geordie is at his best, and it's a big part of why he's as popular as he is. But the big question is, can True Geordie recover from the recent events and rebuild his image, or will this permanently tarnish his reputation? Well, judging from one thing he came back from in the past, I would argue that he can. In August 2019, a conversation between Geordie and a woman he was sexting on Instagram got leaked. The texts were extremely explicit, exposing kinks of his that you would never expect. He became trending on Twitter and people were calling him all kinds of names. The hate he received was like nothing he'd ever experienced, and it got so bad that he genuinely contemplated suicide.
I was thinking about methods of suicide. I was thinking about like, yeah, what if I just did this? That would end it all.
It was a traumatic situation, but Geordie came back from it in a clever way. He had Stephen Tries, one of YouTube's funniest comedians, come along to his studio and roast him alongside Lawrence. This took the power away from the trolls because it's no fun bullying someone who's laughing along with the insults. It worked so well that Logan Paul did the exact same thing a couple months later after his boxing defeat to KSI. So given True Geordie was able to get through such a publicly humiliating situation, I believe he'll find his way through this one. But if he wants to avoid situations like this again in future, he doesn't just need to worry about him saying the wrong thing, but also his co-star Lawrence McKenna. Geordie and Lawrence have been great friends for many years and started the True Geordie podcast together back in 2016. Just as Geordie has found himself in controversies over the years, so has Lawrence. In July 2021, the pair did a live stream on YouTube's Clash of Creators football event. The event was centered around smaller creators in the community, which was just one of many things Lawrence...
Barker in the midfield. Whoever the fuck Jay Campbell is. Night Scar?
Yeah, it was all
Wait, who the fuck are
Happy
you?
with your performance?
Is that Morse?
I guess so.
An Ollie Ball crossbar challenge.
Oh, yeah.
I always think to myself, what do I want to see? I want to see a guy I barely know kicking a ball at a crossbar. A lot of people in the chat going, who are these people? Yeah, that would have been our problem on the day as well. I don't know who he is, but that was a penalty.
Good effort, Gilly.
So that's Ollie Ball and the other one. There's that guy who used to do Soccer AM and still thinks he's relevant. What?
He went on to bash the production quality as well as the commentating.
And in the gallery, get to the graphic. No.
Spencer is a good player.
Great insight there from Mark. Spencer is indeed a good player.
There was no denying he came off like an arse, and Jack Mate from the Happy Hour podcast called him up on it. He said that he actually considers Lawrence a mate, but he's got to be honest and say that he came across like a prick.
I've got to say, I thought he come across as a bit of a prick in it, mate, to be honest. It's a charity event that a fucking 16-year-old dreamt up, and then you dedicated it in memory to your fucking dad that passed away. You don't need to make shitty comments.
Following this, Lawrence faced a lot of backlash, and a couple months later, he and Geordie released a podcast addressing it. Lawrence admitted to feeling bad about the things he said, but similar to Geordie's first apology video following his joke about Muslims, the episode turned out more like a pity party for Lawrence than a genuine apology.
And in that moment, I did some reflection, and obviously I'm sitting in another country doing some reflection and going, you know what, maybe I made someone feel terrible, and I don't feel good about that.
Yeah.
But that's not a good state to be in while you're on holiday.
It's clear that both True Geordie and Lawrence need to be more careful with the things they say, or eventually they'll find themselves in a position they can't come back from. Right now, they're doing everything they can to get past the Islamophobia scandal, but it looks like it'll be a long road to undoing the damage that's been done. Since his latest apology video, True Geordie posted a podcast on his channel where he spoke to Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, two respected spokespeople in the Muslim community. They discussed Islam and current issues faced by people in the religion, and also addressed where True Geordie went wrong and how he can learn from the experience. Geordie seemed genuinely genuinely invested in the conversation and eager to educate himself, which showed a different side to him than we've seen before. Hats off to Geordie. He took the criticism, internalized it, and took the first step away from ignorance. His response to all this has earned my respect. Genuinely one of the best podcasts I've heard in a while. Fair play to True Geordie, who came across as an individual who admitted his mistake and is making a conscious effort to learn. Very refreshing to see. Twitch has since unbanned True Geordie from their platform, and with the positive reaction to his most recent podcast, things look like they're on an upward trend. However, it's extremely unlikely he'll be able to reconcile with Gymshark and regain his sponsorship, and this is likely the case with PokerStars as well. For Geordie, this experience has been a huge wake-up call. Not only did he upset a massive community of people, but he also did significant damage to the brand he spent years building. As it stands, True Geordie already has a lot of people who don't like him, so it's inevitable that this situation will be used as a way to keep him down. There'll be many more insults in his comment section and nasty tweets about him, just as there were when his DMs were leaked in 2019. This is no surprise in an age where people can dish out abuse anonymously from behind their screens. But we should also take into account that we all make mistakes, and it's possible for True Geordie to learn from his ones. He appears to be making an effort to understand the religion and culture of the people he offended and to educate himself so this doesn't happen again. So even though things don't look too good for him at the moment, I'd bet that eventually he'll be back bigger and better than before.